The rain had been falling for hours, a cold and endless curtain that blurred the city lights into streaks of silver and gold. On the cracked sidewalk, beneath the awning of a shuttered bakery, a woman bent low to shield her little boy from the storm. Her coat was thin, the lining torn, and every drop of water that soaked into the fabric sent a chill straight to her bones. Yet, even in her exhaustion, her hand never stopped gently brushing the boy's damp hair from his forehead. Her name was Clara. To most who passed her on the street, she was invisible, just another single mother in a tired city struggling to make it through another day. But inside her, there was a fire, an unyielding determination that no storm could wash away. Hunger gnawed at her stomach, but she pretended not to notice. Instead, she tightened her grip on the brown paper bag she carried, 2 sandwiches she had stretched her last few dollars to buy. One for her son, one for herself. At least tonight, he wouldn't go to sleep hungry. But just as she was about to coax him to eat, she saw him. An old man, frail and bent, sitting on the corner beside the closed bookstore. His clothes were wet rags, his shoes torn, his face pale and hollow. His trembling hands clutched at his chest as if he were holding back the world's weight. The rain dripped from his eyebrows, and when he opened his mouth to cough, Clara could hear the emptiness in it, the kind of cough that came from a body with nothing left inside to give. Have you ever seen someone and felt their pain echo inside you, as though life had placed a mirror in front of your own hidden struggles? That was what Clara felt in that moment. She looked at the sandwiches in her hand, at her son's hungry eyes, then back at the old man who looked as though he hadn't eaten in days. Her son tugged at her sleeve. "Mama," he whispered, "he looks sick." Clara hesitated. How could she give away food when they had nothing else? What if her son cried himself to sleep tonight again, stomach empty, dreams filled with aching hunger? The decision clawed at her heart. But then she remembered the nights when she had prayed for someone, anyone, to notice her, to offer even a sliver of kindness when she had felt invisible. Slowly, with trembling hands, Clara walked to the old man. She knelt, the rain soaking through her jeans, and held out the sandwich. "Sir," she said softly, "please eat this." The man's eyes widened, clouded with disbelief. His lips quivered as if he couldn't form words. Tears mingled with the rain on his cheeks as he took the sandwich with shaking fingers. He brought it to his mouth, and when he bit into it, a sound escaped him, a choked, broken sob of relief. Why would you?" he whispered between bites, his voice raspy. "Because no one should be left to starve," Clara said, her throat tightening. She tried to smile, though her own stomach twisted with hunger. "We all need help sometimes, don't we?" The man nodded, chewing slowly, almost reverently, as if each bite was sacred. For a moment, the storm faded into silence, and Clara felt something shift, like the universe had paused to witness this fragile exchange between strangers. Have you ever given away something you couldn't afford to lose, and yet, in doing so, felt richer than ever before? Hours later, Clara would learn that this decision, the choice to help when she had so little, was about to change her life in ways she could never imagine. But for now, all she could do was hold her son close and watch as the old man ate, unaware that fate itself was watching her every move. The rain slowed to a drizzle, leaving the streets shining like broken glass beneath the dim glow of the street lamps. Clara held her son's hand tightly as they began walking home, their shoes squelching with each step. She tried to steady her breathing, but inside, guilt and relief warred within her. Her son, Daniel, looked up at her, his thin face illuminated by the passing headlights of a car. "Mama," he said softly, "I don't mind. You gave my sandwich to him. He needed it more." Clara stopped in her tracks. She bent down and cupped her son's cheeks, her wet palms pressing against his chilled skin. His eyes were so young, so innocent, and yet filled with a wisdom he should never have had to carry. "You're so brave, Danny," she whispered. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. Tomorrow, I'll find us something better to eat." But even as she said it, she knew how fragile that promise was. Tomorrow was just another day of uncertainty. They reached their small apartment, a crumbling building with peeling paint and a hallway that smelled faintly of mildew. The stairs groaned beneath their weight as they climbed to the 3rd floor. Inside, their room was dark and sparse, one bed they shared, a small table, and a heater that rattled when it worked at all. Clara hung up their coats to dry, then tucked Daniel under the thin blanket. "Tell me a story," he murmured, eyes already heavy with sleep. She brushed damp strands of hair from his forehead and forced a smile. "Once upon a time," she began, there was a boy who was stronger than he knew. He lived with his mama in a little room, but their hearts were so big, they could light up the darkest night. As she spoke, her voice cracked. Daniel's breathing slowed, steadying into the rhythm of sleep, but Clara lay awake long after, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rain tapping against the window. Hunger gnawed at her belly, but it wasn't the emptiness of food that hurt most, it was the weight of wondering how much longer she could keep fighting this battle alone. Have you ever lain awake at night, asking yourself if you're enough? If all your sacrifices are truly making a difference? Clara had asked herself that question every night since Daniel's father left. The next morning, she rose before dawn. She dressed quietly, pulling on the same black pants and faded blouse she wore to her cleaning job at the downtown office building. She slipped out, leaving Daniel in the care of their elderly neighbor, Mrs. Martinez, who often watched him when Clara worked. The city was alive again, bustling with hurried commuters and honking horns. Clara's hands grew raw from scrubbing, her back ached from bending, but she kept going. Hours blurred together in a haze of mops and disinfectant. By the time she left work, her paycheck already felt like it was vanishing. Rent was due in 2 days. Electricity was past due, and Daniel's shoes were wearing thin, his toes nearly poking through. She walked past a bakery, the smell of fresh bread twisting in her stomach, but she didn't stop. Every dollar mattered too much. As she turned a corner, she saw him again, the old man from the night before. He was sitting against the same bookstore wall, his eyes closed, his chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. Clara's heart ached. She bought a small cup of hot soup from a street vendor and approached him. "Sir," she said gently, kneeling down. "You need something warm." The man stirred, opening his tired eyes. When he saw her, recognition flickered. Slowly, he took the cup, his hands trembling less this time. "You," he rasped, "you gave me food, last night." "Yes," Clara nodded, smiling faintly. "And now this. Eat while it's hot." Tears welled in his eyes again. "Why are you doing this?" Clara hesitated, searching for words. "Because I know what it feels like, to go without. And because if I were in your place, I'd pray for someone to notice me. We're all human. We all need grace." The old man held her gaze for a long moment, as though her words reached a part of him that had been locked away. Then he whispered, "Bless you, child." She stood, brushing dirt from her knees, and before leaving, she added, "Take care of yourself. Please." That night, Clara returned home to Daniel with 2 small bread rolls she had saved from her work staff lounge. They weren't much, but his face lit up as though she'd brought him treasure. He ate happily, and as she watched, Clara felt a quiet warmth fill her chest. She didn't know that fate was weaving something unseen, that her simple acts of kindness were being watched by eyes far more powerful than she could imagine. Have you ever felt like your life was just an endless circle of struggle, unaware that destiny was quietly preparing a turning point? Hours later, as the city lights flickered on and Clara drifted into exhausted sleep beside her son, across town, in a towering glass building, a CEO sat at his desk reviewing reports. His phone buzzed, and when he picked up, a trembling voice on the other end said, "Sir, we found your father."